Gervonta "Tank" Davis is leaving no room for shortcuts as he prepares for what many are calling the most talked about fight of the year, his showdown with Jake Paul. Inside his training camp, the atmosphere is nothing short of electric. Every day begins before sunrise, and every round of sparring feels like a statement. Davis is pushing himself harder than ever, determined to remind the world what separates an elite fighter from a social media sensation. His workouts are intense, endless rounds on the mitts, heavy back sessions that shake the walls, and sparring partners rotated in one after another just to keep the pressure constant. The gym echoes with the sound of gloves cracking leather and Davis shouting through exhaustion. His coach can be heard barking commands, but Tank doesn't need motivation. He's locked in, fueled by the idea of shutting down the hype once and for all. Sources inside the camp say Davis has been sharper than ever. His hand speeds look frightening, his counters more explosive, and his conditioning has reached a new level. He is not just training for a fight, he is training to make a statement. For him, this isn't about money or fame, it's about respect for the sport. You can't fake what real boxing feels like, he reportedly told a team member. You can't buy timing, reflexes, or ring IQ. You earn that through pain, through years of hard work. Jake Paul, of course, has been promoting the fight with his usual confidence, promising fans another knockout. But Tank's camp isn't interested in words, they are focused on results. Every sparring session is treated like a war, every mistake analyzed, and every success repeated until it's perfect. Davis' mindset is simple. He is going to show the difference between YouTube fame and championship pedigree. Observers who have watched Tank train say he is in the best shape of his career. His footwork is crisp, his defense airtight, and his punches have that trademark thud that only true power punchers possess. The energy around him is different, quieter, colder, more dangerous. He is not smiling, not talking, just grinding. As fight night approaches, the buzz is building. Some fans are wondering if Jack's power and size advantage could cause problems, while others believe this will be night the world sees the gap between entertainment and elite boxing. Either way, Gervonta Davis seems ready to put on a masterclass to silence doubters, crush the hype, and remind everyone why real fighters are built, not branded. When the bell rings, one thing for sure, Tank Davis won't be there for show. He will be there to dominate, destroy, and defend the honor of boxing itself.
At 195 max weight.
Okay.
10 3-minute rounds.
Okay.
And 12-ounce gloves. And most of you guys know boxing, right? Most of the fights are with 10-ounce gloves. Fighters spar in 16-ounce gloves. 12-ounce and 10-ounce gives you a little bit more safety, which is the key here, given the size difference, but there's a massive experience difference. We will have 3 world-class judges ringside that the commission has approved to ensure there's a rendered decision for the fans. It will not go on their record, but there will be 3 experienced judges, some of the best in the business, giving their view of who won the fight.
So let me just follow up with this then. You know, the Florida statute says that it means an exhibition means a boxing, kickboxing, or mixed martial arts.
You saw the exhibition of Floyd and Logan.
Okay.
So just go with that, and if they weren't trying to hit each other, then tell me they weren't trying to hit each other.
Legendary boxing trainer and analyst Teddy Atlas has weighed in on the highly anticipated clash between Jake Paul and Gervonta "Tank" Davis, and his breakdown is as insightful as ever, drawing a parallel to Logan Paul's exhibition bout with Floyd Mayweather. Atlas believes this matchup will once again showcase the difference between learning boxing and living boxing, but this time he warns the stakes are much higher because, unlike Floyd's exhibition with Logan, Gervonta Davis isn't stepping into the ring to play, he is stepping in to punish. Atlas began by pointing out the similarities between the two Paul brothers situations. Like Logan, Jack will enter the fight with a noticeable advantage in height, reach, and natural size. But as Atlas explained, that only mattered until the first bell rings. He elaborated that once the punches start flying, experience, timing, and composure are what truly dictate who survives and who fades. And in that department, Gervonta Davis is operating on completely different level. Jack's got guts, Atlas admitted. He's been training hard and he's proven he can fight. But Gervonta Davis has spent his entire life mastering every inch of that ring. That is not something you pick up in a few years. It's instinct built through decades of repetition, mistakes, and evolution. Atlas tests that what separates elite boxers like Davis from newcomers like Paul is not just skill. It's the ability to stay calm in chaos, to make split-second reads, and to exploit even the smallest errors. Teddy also highlighted a critical difference between Jack's approach and Logan's fight with Mayweather. Logan fought cautiously, focusing on survival rather than winning, but Jake, driven by pride and a growing belief in his power, won't be able to resist training punches with Davis, and that, Atlas warned, could be his downfall. You don't play punch for punch with a killer like Tank, he said. If Jack opens up, Davis will time him, counter him, and end the fight before Jack even knows what happened. According to Atlas, Tank's ring intelligence is his deadliest weapon. He doesn't just react, he predicts. He studies his opponent's habits, sets trap, and then execute with precision. His goat radar, Atlas explained, he sees things coming before you even throw them. That's the kind of awareness that can completely shut down a bigger, stronger man. While acknowledging Jack's improvement, Atlas made it clear that the physical advantages won't save him from the technical gulf between the two fighters. Jack's power won't matter if he can't land clean, he said. And against Tank, that is the hardest part. He gives you nothing for free. Every miss will cost you energy, every mistake will get punished. In closing, Teddy Atlas summed it up with a line that resonated with fans across social media. Logan survived because Floyd let him. Jack won't get that luxury. Gervonta Davis isn't coming for an exhibition, he is coming for a statement. For Atlas, this isn't just another crossover event, it's the reminder of what happens when raw ambition collides with refined skill. When the bell rings, Jack Paul's physicality might get him through the opening rounds, but Teddy believes Davis's precision, patience, and championship experience will ultimately decide the night.
So in that sense, it's a little bit different. It's not this. It's not different in the sense of a boxer in his prime or relative prime straying off the path, but this one is not. It's not like someone else, in a similar weight. It's like completely the opposite, and so that makes it, I think, look and feel weird. And then on top of it, obviously, Gervonta's got other business to handle. He looked to me, Gervonta, absolutely, completely disinterested. Even at the beginning of this year, and even at the pre-fight Lamont Roach stuff, Tank was talking about how much time he has left in boxing, which he was clearly isn't much. The Lamont Roach fight, it blew up in his face, but Lamont Roach was cherry-picked. I think Tank thought, I'll just fight another guy from, the Mid-Atlantic area who's, remember Roach came up from 30 to 35 to fight him, and Tank thought he was just going to cruise, and then it blew up in his face, and, you're left with that. So, you're making a point about, he's got this obligation. That's true, but he was already fucking around. He was already taking opponents that, again, I think Roach showed everyone that was a mistake, but put yourself in Tank's mind. Tank was taking a fight against someone he was clearly, in his mind anyway, better than, and was just going to cruise. So he was already in that state. Then you marry that with statements like, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be doing this, and blah, 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 and, I'm worried about going to therapy because it'll take away my competitive edge, and, kind of teetering on the edge a little bit about like whether or not this is a thing he wants to do. Then he, does a draw in that fight.
Left hand down the pipe. You can even see here, I'm not even trying to do the whole body language breakdown, but you can even see Tank could get under that left hand because he's 5-0. He could roll under that left hand, and here comes the brick hand over the top. If he lands something like that in 10 ounces, I'm going to tell you this. Jake's 200 and something pounds. That's still going to hurt at the very least, and who knows what, because Tank's got ridiculous power. So Jake, a little sloppy on the push there. He got pushed. He wanted to get it back. There's something to be taken away from that, but lines up perfectly for a counter left hand. And you even see his promoter here is kind of grabbing his left hand because Tank wanted to let it fly. And Jake backed up a little bit. He said, oh, and Tank comes with that. Tank, man. Tank said, where I'm from, the bullies get bullied. All right, dude, there you go. Listen, takeaways from this thing, I don't know. Tank seemed to have a little bit more energy today. He seemed to be more lively. Him going back and forth with the media, with Jay Leon, with Jake, with Aiden Ross. There seemed to be a bit more energy today. That's all I really asked for. So in terms of, selling us on something, sure. Better job today from both guys. Jake, seemed a bit more locked in here with Tank as well. They had a little bit more fun. Tank going after Kisa was pretty funny. But listen, this doesn't change anything in my mind. The 10-ounce gloves doesn't really change anything to me. I mean, again, I think that's a bad idea for Tank, more so because even if Jake doesn't land clean, those are 10-ounce gloves, still going to hurt. Tank is still punching in gloves that are 2 ounces heavier than he normally uses, so I don't know how that's a win for him. The $2 million bet almost certainly won't happen, which I didn't think would in the first place, but Tank pretty much confirmed it. And we're all left with the same kind of idea that we thought about this to begin with. This is an entertainment exhibition that we know is going to draw a ton of eyeballs. I'm going to watch, and there's going to be great high-level competition boxing on the underneath card. And even in the main event, if something is to happen, if someone is to get knocked out, it will go mega viral, and both these guys are going to make a shit.
Boxing analyst Showbiz the Adult didn't hold back when discussing Jack Paul's decision to call out Gervonta Tank Davis, calling it, in his words, the biggest mistake of Jack's career. In a recent discussion, Showbiz broke down exactly why this matchup could go terribly wrong for Paul, emphasizing that Davis isn't just another name to build hype around. He is a dangerous, active world champion still at the peak of his powers. Showbiz explained that Jack Paul might be falling into the same pattern that has defined his career so far, targeting opponents with big names but declining scales. He reminded fans how Paul made headlines fighting aging stars like Ned Diaz and even teasing bouts with legends like Mike Tyson. Those were safe choices. Fighters well past their prime where Jack could control the narrative. But this time, he is playing with real fire. Gervonta Davis is no retired icon. He is a hungry, focused, and extremely dangerous fighter who is been sharpening his craft at the highest level of the sport. Tank has already proven. Showbiz said that height, reach, or size doesn't matter when skill and timing are on your side. He pointed to Davis' wins over taller, stronger fighters like Ryan Garcia and Mario Barrios, fights where Tank systematically broke down his opponents, showing not just raw power but a brilliant understanding of distance, defense, and counterpunching. According to Showbiz, that adaptability is what makes Davis a nightmare matchup for someone like Jack Paul, who is still learning the finer points of a real boxing technique. He went on to describe how Jack teams might have underestimated Tank's ability to adjust mid-fight. Davis isn't just explosive, he is patient, calculating, and deadly precise. People think of Tank as just a knockout artist, Showbiz noted, but they forgot he is a strategist. He sets traps, he studies movement, and when he strikes, it's over. That kind of ring IQ, Showbiz argued, is something you can't buy with money or build through social media attention. It comes from years of dedication, fighting through the ranks, and facing world-class competition. Showbiz also highlighted the mental side of this matchup. While Jack Paul thrives on chaos, attention, and online energy, Davis operates in silence. He doesn't play the social media game. He lets his face do the talking. That difference in mentality could be critical once the lights go on. When the talking stops, the punches start flying. Only one of them knows what it feels like to go deep into real dogfight, and that is Gervonta. In his final remarks, Showbiz the adult summed it up bluntly. Jack Paul may have bitten off far more than he can chew. Facing Gervonta Davis isn't just a step up, it's a leap into a world he's never truly experienced. If this fight happens, it won't just test Jack's toughness, it will expose whether he belongs in the same ring as an elite, world-class boxer in his absolute prime.
Paul will face Gervonta Davis in an exhibition match. Quote, "You can't do a fight like that as a pro fight," Shipman said. It'll be an exhibition fight, end quote. Similarly to the concerning location move, he states that the main reason for this is the significant weight disparity between the two opponents. An exhibition is defined by Florida statutes as a boxing, kickboxing, or mixed martial arts engagement in which persons participating show or display their skills without necessarily striving to win, using strikes, elbows, blah, blah, blah. So, the key word here is, key phrase, show or display their skills without necessarily striving to win.
While much of the boxing world sees Gervonta Tank Davis as the clear favorite against Jack Paul, not everyone is convinced this fight will be as one-sided as people think. Several boxing experts have raised a serious concern that Tank may have taken on a challenge too big this time, literally. They argue that no matter how skilled or explosive Davis is, fighting a naturally bigger and stronger opponent like Jack Paul brings real danger that shouldn't be ignored. These analysts point to one of boxing's oldest truths: weight classes exist for a reason. Tank Davis has built his reputation in lighter divisions, where his speed, precision, and knockout power have dominated every opponent put in front of him. But now, stepping up to face a fighter who outweighs him by a significant margin, the playing field changes. Jack Paul, despite being relatively new to the sport, has always been the larger man in his matchups, and that physicality has played a major role in his success. Experts explain that once both men step into the ring, size becomes more than just a number on the scale. It affects everything from the way punches land to how much damage a fighter can absorb. When you are giving up that much weight, one analyst said, even if you are faster, every exchange becomes a risk. A punch from naturally heavier fighter can change the fight instantly. They also highlight that Jack Paul, while not at Davis's skill level, has developed legitimate strength and durability through years of focused training. He is not a typical YouTuber stepping into the ring anymore. He is a strong, athletic boxer who knows how to use his size, range, and physical presence to his advantage. Against smaller opponents, Tank explosiveness usually dominates. But against someone like Jack, his power might not carry the same effect if the shots don't land clean. Another major factor discussed by experts is endurance. Moving up in weight means Tank's body will be carrying extra muscles, potentially showing his movement and affecting his stamina in the later rounds. Meanwhile, Jack Paul, accustomed to the heavier weight, may be able to push the pace and lean on Tank during clinches, forcing him to work harder just to create space. Still, no one is counting Davis out. His skill set, the timing, accuracy, and killer instinct remains elite. But analysts say this fight could show how far pure talent can go against physical reality. If anyone can overcome the size gap, it's Gervonta, one commentator noticed. But when you move up, you are no longer just fighting a man, you are fighting physics. In the end, this matchup is not just a clash of personalities or hype, it's a fascinating experiment in boxing dynamics: power versus precision, size versus speed, and hype versus heritage. Whether Davis' mastery can overcome Jack Paul's natural advantages remains one of the most intriguing questions leading up to the fight night.
So that's boxing at its finest right there. You heard it. They said it. Make that bet. Everything on the line.
Gervonta is an animal for real. Jake is too domestic. Here's the thing, Mike Tyson's an animal too. He was just 60. But he messed around and he got a prime.
In the press conference, and you can tell, you can just look at him and tell, like, no, this dude he's gonna get this money for sure, because there's so much money out there to be had. But Jake Paul better be not playing around, man. Not get cute, not play any games, don't hit him in the back of the head, don't rabbit punch him, don't do any of that stuff, man, because Mike Tyson, first of all, Mike Tyson, a lot of people think Mike Tyson was pulling punches on Jake Paul, and a lot of people think that Anderson Silva was pulling punches on him too. You're not going to have a little Gervonta out there pulling punches on you, man, if you're out there playing games. So, I don't like the fight at all. However, as far as it being an entertaining situation, I almost guarantee you that fight itself is going to be entertaining. That it's going to be something that you look at and you're going to say, man, everybody's going to watch it. Everybody's going to want to know what happens in it. But at the same time, it's kind of like what people think, when you see a car crash. Like, you're driving down the road and all of a sudden the traffic gets heavy and you're like, man, I'm going to be in traffic for a long time. And then you drive forward a little bit and then you see, oh man, this is some accident on the other side of the road and everybody just slowing down to watch. That's the type of entertainment that you can expect from this fight between Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul. There's going to be a lot of people watching it, but I gotta say, man, you really can't blame the guy on what he's doing. And there's a lot of criticism flying on Gervonta Davis. It's not Gervonta Davis's fault that boxing took this turn. This turn of these exhibition fights and people not caring about the belts and all of that stuff came with Floyd Mayweather.
Want this, or I liked this when I heard it? No, I didn't like it, to be honest, for the optics and everything else I just said. But you do have one guy who, he's smaller, but he's a top fighter, he can punch, and he's fighting a guy who's not a top pro fighter, who's bigger. What if he hits him on the chin? It'll wind up selling. And that's what'll wind up selling it. The what if. What if Tank makes him do a cha-cha? He hits him on the chin, and Jake Paul, we're going to find out if he can dance. Whoa. Do the cha-cha. That's what's going to sell it. And you can't argue that what if. You can't. I know I get to places that other people won't go and everything else, that just dismiss stuff because it's easier to do that, it's safer to do that. You don't have to bows and arrows coming at you from people that argue with you because you did that, but I don't care. I've had bows and arrows my whole life. I don't care. But that's true. That what if this guy who is a real good puncher, who is one of the best fighters in the world right now, what if he hits him? What if he makes a miss and he counters him? Or he jumps up in the air? Bang! And he hits him. Sid Terrace was a great fighter. No, not the 1700s, but years ago. And Cus D'Amato told me he loves Sid Terrace. He said, Teddy, he used to jump up in the air and hit you with 3 jabs. I said, whoa, man, Sid Terrace. All right. Anyway, look, I can't finish without saying that it did invoke some memories and thoughts that we've been here before in a different way, where Jake Paul's brother fought Mayweather. That's not forget. And I'm not saying I like that either.
At the recent press conference, all eyes were on Gervonta "Tank" Davis and Jake Paul as they finally came face to face. But what truly caught everyone's attention was not trash talk or tension. It was Davis' composure, while Jake Paul arrived with his usual showmanship, cracking jokes, throwing taunts, and feeding off the crowd's reaction. Gervonta stood calm, controlled, and unshaken. His body language said more than any insult ever could. He was not there to win the press conference. He was there to win the fight. Reporters described the contrast as the difference between hype and heritage. Jake Paul, a master of promotion, leaned into his entertainer persona, trying to pull Davis into his world of mind games and viral moments. But Tank wouldn't bite. He sat quietly, occasionally smiling, never losing focus. When it was his turn to speak, his words were measured, confident but grounded. "I am not here to talk," he said simply. "I am here to show what real boxing looks like." That line alone drew a clear line between entertainment and excellence. Observers noted how Davis's demeanor reflected the maturity of a fighter who has been through real wars in the ring. He's fought under bright lights before, headlined sold-out arenas, and carried the pressure of representing the sport at its highest level. Unlike Jack, who thrives in chaos, Gervonta thrives in silence, in that razor-sharp mental space where every movement has purpose. His stillness was not weakness, it was control. It was the confidence of someone who has done the work day after day behind closed doors. Experts also pointed out how that kind of poise sends a psychological message. When you are facing a man who doesn't reach, doesn't flinch, and doesn't need to talk, that is intimidating, one analyst said. It tells you he is not playing your game, he's waiting for you to step into his. And that is exactly what makes Davis so dangerous. He doesn't chase attention, he earns it through results. Throughout the press conference, Jake Paul tried everything: playful jabs, stage tension, even crowd interaction. But nothing seemed to throw Davis off balance. Every time Jack got louder, Tank got quieter. Every time Jack got louder, Tank got quieter. Every time Jack stood up, Tank leaned back. It was a psychological warfare, and Davis was winning it without saying a word. For Gervonta Davis, this fight isn't about fame, followers, or viral clips. It's about legacy. It's about defending the values of real boxing: discipline, timing, patience, and mastery. His calm energy reminding everyone watching that true champions don't need noise to shine. They let their preparation speak for them. By the end of the event, even Jake's fans had to admit Tank's presence felt different. There was something chilling about that calm confidence, as if he already knew how the story would end. The press conference didn't just build hype, it revealed two completely different worlds colliding. One built on entertainment, the other on excellence. When the cameras shut off and the lights dimmed, Gervonta Davis left the stage with the same expression he arrived with: focused, unbothered, and ready for business. If the press conference was any indication, Jake Paul may be ready to perform, but Tank Davis is ready to fight.